Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Yee-Haw, a Bonanza podcast. I'm your host, Melissa, and today we are watching Season 1, Episode 7, The Saga of Annie O'Toole. Hope y'all had a great Thanksgiving weekend. I know I did. Lots of eating, lots of sleeping, lots of visiting family, and doing nothing. And at the time of recording this, it is now December somehow. I don't really know how we got here, but I guess Christmas is going to sneak up on us really quick. I don't know. The older I've gotten, the more I just feel like time just doesn't exist anymore. You know, it was August and all of a sudden we're about to hit Christmas here in a few weeks, which is craziness. Quick heads up, as we go into the holidays, my videos might slow down a little bit. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I am one of 9 in my family. I'm the middle child of 9 kids, which means it's a lot of family coming home, a lot of extracurricular Christmas activities. So my video posting might slow down a little bit. I'm trying to get ahead of recording right now so I can edit things earlier and then upload them, but we're just going to have to see how it goes because as you guys all know, the holidays get super, super busy. So I did want to give a heads up on that. Another thing, I don't know if you guys can hear this, but I'm currently in a room that has no heat and it is very, 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 very cold. And I brought in my space heater. It's not super close to the mic, but you can kind of hear it, especially when I'm not talking. I don't think it's that big of a deal for the video today, but if you guys hear an extra little noise, it's the space heater in the background. So I just wanted to let you know about that. All right, let's read the episode details of the Saga of Annie O'Toole. I was so excited to watch this episode. It's so delightful and fun. I ended up watching it twice simply because it brought me so much joy. So let's go ahead and read some episode details, and then we'll share a couple notable things about the episode, and then we'll get right on into it. Okay, so the Saga of Annie O'Toole. This episode was written by Thomas Thompson, David Dortort, and Fred Hamilton. It was directed by Joseph Kane. It premiered October 24th, 1959. The special guest of the week was the great Ida Lupino, but it also featured Alan Hale Jr., Henry Lascoe, Victor Sen Young, John Patrick, Richard Reeves, and Ollie O'Toole. The episode description is: Feisty Annie O'Toole comes to Nevada with her old Da, aka himself, to mine silver and winds up feeding silver miners, shanghaiing Adam Cartwright to be her partner in her tent kitchen, and to be her attorney in miners' court when an old enemy challenges her right to her claim. Oh, guys, this is going to be a fun watch today. I believe this was the first official Bonanza comedy episode. I know we had a little bit of humor in Enter Mark Twain, but I don't think that one was, like, inherently meant to be a comedic episode. I think that this is the first deliberately comedic episode of Bonanza, so that's super exciting. So let's share a couple things on the guest of the week, the great Ida Lupino. First things first, she was married to actor Howard Duff, who played Mark Twain in Enter Mark Twain, which is very cool. She is known for being a very prominent female actress and director in Hollywood and paving the path for a lot of female directors, especially for the time. Her best-known films are The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, 1939, They Drive by Night, 1940, High Sierra, 1941, The Sea Wolf, 1941, Ladies in Retirement, 1941, very active in 1941, Moontide, 1942, The Hard Way, 1943, Roadhouse, 1948, and While the City Sleeps, 1956. Those are some of her notable films. She also directed more than 100 episodes of television shows in a variety of genres. It says, including westerns, supernatural tales, situation comedies, murder mysteries, and gangster stories. She was the only woman to direct an episode of the original Twilight Zone series, The Masks, which is one of the most famous episodes of the Twilight Zone. I remember watching that for the first time, and it just freaked me out. My parents used to buy like little masks for us when we were kids, and I remember being terrified to touch them after watching that episode. It's a really good one. And it says that she was the only director of the Twilight Zone to star in an episode at the same time. And that episode of the Twilight Zone was the 16mm Shrine. She also starred in 2 Columbo episodes. One I've watched on the channel. The episode Short Fuse, which stars Roddy McDowall as the main character. Ida Lupino plays his aunt, I believe. And she is also in an upcoming Columbo episode I have yet to watch, which is Swan Song with Johnny Cash. And I believe that she plays his wife in that, if I'm not mistaken. So we've got that to look forward to. Ida Lupino is prominently known for paving the path for a lot of female actresses and female directors, especially during a time when roles were sparse for women in Hollywood. So that's really cool. She has got a very notable career. In fact, I found myself doing a little bit of research on her before I started recording today's episode, and it's very impressive. She did a lot of interesting films for the time, for the 1940s, a lot of films that were probably super taboo for the time, and touched upon some controversial topics, but she's got a very impressive filmography career and a directorial career. But those are some fun facts on her for today. So there's another cast member in today's episode that you guys already might be familiar with, and his name is Alan Hale Jr. And for those who don't know, he is most famous for his role as the skipper on Gilligan's Island, which is another show that I watch with my mom now and then. But funnily enough, he has another movie credit on his IMDb page that made me laugh, and that is The Giant Spider Invasion. I have a bit of a funny story about the giant spider invasion. One time when I was at work, I was on my lunch break, and I was going through trailers for some reason, and I came across the trailer for The Giant Spider Invasion. And this is a movie from 1975 about giant spiders that invade our world, and they eat people, and it's supposed to be like this grotesque film. Now, that being said, the special effects in this movie are absolutely horrendous. The movie had a budget of $300,000, I think, in 1975. And the trailer alone is so hilarious that it makes you want to watch the movie. I watched the trailer when I was on my lunch break with my buddies, and we were cracking up, and we were like, we have to watch this movie together. So we set aside a movie night for this film, and we watched it, and it was easily one of the most entertaining things I think I've ever seen. The effects are terrible. The acting is like, at best. But Alan Hale in the film plays this sheriff in the movie. And sometimes the film, like, you can't tell if it's trying to be serious or if it's like trying to make fun of itself. The tone is so confusing. But one of the things we kept joking about in the movie is just how useless Alan Hale's sheriff character is. Like, every time there's a major problem in the film, instead of handling the issue, he's always calling somebody else to help him with his problems. So it'd be like, the National Guard, or get me the police force over on the other side of town. He never actually goes out of his way to fix the problem, and it was such a point of hilarity for us when we were watching the film that we kept rewinding scenes just to watch his because they were so stupid and ridiculous. Anyway, Alan Hale Jr. is in that film. It's so dumb. If you need a good laugh, or if you just need to turn off your brain and watch something super stupid and silly and make you feel good, I would highly recommend The Great Spider Invasion. But there's so many jokes in my friend group about this particular film. And I gotta be honest with you guys, I legitimately had no idea that that was Alan Hale Jr. till I saw it just now. So you learn something new every day. But there's a little history on Alan Hale Jr. and The Giant Spider Invasion. So if you check out that movie, please let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. All right, other notable things for today's episode. I did check this episode out on the box set. There were a lot of great pictures, a lot of good outside shots of the set that really give you a good feel for what it must have been like filming that day. Apparently, they shot a good portion of this episode in Bronson Canyon in Griffith Park, which is another place I want to visit. So many things were filmed in Griffith Park, and according to my sister who lives out in California, Griffith Park is huge, and she's lived out there for almost 3 years now, and she says that she's barely touched it because she says that there's so much to do there. But there is a hilarious picture of Lorne Greene punching another guy in the face, but like mid-action. So I'm looking at it right now. It's really, really funny. It's mid-punch from a great scene in the opening shot of the episode, in one of the opening shots of the episode. There's also some really good shots of Pernell Roberts and Ida Lupino together, you know, either them talking on set between takes or them just doing standard Western poses for promo photos. There's a couple really cute ones. There's also a great picture where it's from the final shot in the episode, or one of the final shots in the episode, where Ida Lupino and Purnell are standing in front of himself's coffin, and Purnell is getting his face touched up. It just looks really, really funny because there's a coffin directly below him and Ida, and he's just getting his face touched up, which looks kind of funny. But yeah, there's some really, really good pictures on the box set that just really give you a great feel for what it must have been like on the set. So if you guys don't own the box set, I don't know what you're doing. Amazon has a pretty good deal on it right now. I wonder if it dropped further because of Black Friday and Cyber Monday. I am recording this on Monday, December 2nd, which is Cyber Monday, but let's see if the box set price has dropped. It did. It did drop. The full series of Bonanza, the complete box set, is usually $244.99, but it has dropped to $151.49 on Amazon. So if you guys want to get the box set, go on over and try to snag that deal. All right, guys, do you think I've talked enough? I think I've talked enough. I hope you guys are enjoying these fun little facts on the episodes before we watch them. I try to do a little bit of research and include a little bit of fun facts. I want to provide some value to my videos and have you leave with some new bit of information that you didn't have before. So I hope you guys are enjoying them. All right, y'all, pull up your recording of the episode and we will start watching. In 3, 2, 1, go. I couldn't figure out what their accents were at first. I couldn't figure it out. Was it Irish, Swedish? I think it's a little bit of both. I'm pretty sure it's Irish, but I'm not great with accents. Like, at times it sounds Irish, and then at other times it sounds Swedish. It's a cute intro. Himself is such a cute nickname. The jokes about alcoholism in this episode, though, are kind of funny. Ida's approach to this role is so spunky and determined and cute and feminine. Like, she just encapsulates all those ranges perfectly into this character. She's just got so much personality. It's really hard not to like her. Oh, I guess we just skipped the theme again. Sorry about that, guys. This intro. This intro is so chaotic. You want to look everywhere because there's so much going on. And I can honestly say I rewound this intro a couple times simply to watch different characters do different things. You can so clearly tell that Joe is loving this too. And once again, the musical score is just perfect. Like, that is just perfect. Ben smacking that one guy in the face is perfection. Just between conversation. But the music is so good. So good in the show. Yeah, she's definitely Irish. I like how they all take off their hats in respect. It's very cute. Aw. The music is such a character. It has such a personality of its own and lifts up the episode so well. David Rose was an amazing composer. Oh, I forgot about my tea. I have green tea here. It's probably cold now. Her Irish isms in this episode are one of my favorite aspects about it. I love that Adam offers Haas instead because all the other guys were a little bit too eager. I want to watch that intro 20 times. It's so funny. Ben begrudgingly becoming dispute referee in this episode. I also love Adam's begrudging relationship with Annie O'Toole. God, Ida Lupino was so good in this episode. She had it all, man. I like how they're pitted against each other immediately. How she immediately doesn't like him. Her Irishisms are perfect. I love this dynamic. I love Annie's personality. Ida's approach to her personality. You know, she's determined, she's full of life, but she still retains her feminine energy. It's just so good, dude. I love that line. Adam's eye roll there is perfect too. Oh man, Purnell did a lot of like drawn out, exasperated facial expressions and ways of delivering dialogue that is very theatrical. You know, he had a big background in theater and Shakespeare, and I feel like it's on display in this one, and I love it. They're all just watching Hoss eat. Who's offering you money? The exasperation from him in this episode was great. I love this relationship. It's so begrudging between the two of them, but then Adam develops a fondness for her. Also, one of my favorite things in this episode. Snibberblot. Another good recurring joke. The amount of kiss attempts. This episode does give you a better idea of the family dynamics, establishing the family dynamics at least. You know, the characters aren't all quite themselves yet. Like, Purnell plays it very theatrical here and a little bit more energetic as opposed to his very lax, unperturbed personality in later seasons. But the dynamics are starting to form a little bit, even if the characters aren't fully there. Where in Thunderation? Where in Thunderation? I'm gonna steal that. Adam is such a snibberblot in this episode. This is going to sound like a weird thing to say, but I could almost see this episode animated. You know, just the amount of like energy coming off of both Purnell and Ida. Like, I could see this animated. That's also a great joke in the episode. That one comes up a number of times and you think it's going to get old, but it doesn't. Aw. I like this episode. Also, narration. I think this is the first and the last time they did narration in an episode, isn't it? I don't recall them doing it again. But the narration works really well for the comedic effect. Her prices are crazy expensive for the time. I love that. Purnell's facial expressions are so good in this episode. And I love how offended Hop Sing gets. He gets so competitive. Ha ha. You're making more money on accident than most men make on purpose. Huh. Hub seems like I can't believe this family. You know, this isn't my favorite comedy episode, but for the first comedy episode this early in the season, it's pretty well written. It's a nice little teaser for some of the best comedy episodes to come. I think that was one of the most surprising things about Bonanza for me personally is just its capability to be heartbreaking one episode and then hilarious the next. Like the comedy episodes of this show are some of my favorites. And we've got a long way to go before we get to some of my favorites, but I was so surprised how well they were able to write it. I love her. She's just so fiery and full of personality. Yeah, that's right. That is the best response. It wasn't a bottle, it was a keg. This guy's like, I really couldn't care less. Snibberblot is a great insult. I'm going to use that. You snibberblot! Hit him over the head, girl. Kick his butt. He ain't with. What'd she say? He ain't worth beating my pan on or something, or I don't know what she said. It's a good line, though. I love this too, how Annie keeps trying to sneak around Adam in this episode, but Adam eventually doesn't turn her in. Like, he calls her out, but he doesn't turn her in. And I love that. Yes, he is a total snibberblot. I love how Adam chides her. Like he's dealing with a little kid. She is so delightful. Did she do a really sloppy version of the sign of the cross? I think I caught that before I started writing. Poor Ben. Just has no energy for this. It's so hard not to root for Annie in this episode. You know, all the maneuvering she does to make sure that she can still maintain her claim, and the location where himself is buried. It's so hard not to root for her. It's like, yes, yes, get away with it. You know? What exactly were you going to do? She was gonna knife you, dude. She would, too. I love this. I need to make a compilation of all of those little the Irish misunderstandings, the little phrases that she uses. They're too good. Well, you wasn't. Do shows even really do comedy episodes like this anymore? I don't think TV series are as long as they used to be. I mean, they were doing 34 episodes in a season for Bonanza, and nowadays you're getting 8 episodes per season, and that's barely enough time to get involved with the characters or the universe unless every episode's like 2 hours, but they're not. They're only about like 30 minutes. And here we get an hour episode, and there are 34 episodes in a season. But I don't see a lot of TV shows anymore, or I don't know of any TV shows that do these different tones throughout the episodes. Sure, there is. I guess my point being, what I was trying to say before the episode was distracting me a little bit, is I think our television shows nowadays are a lot shorter. You know, we got the 8 episode series, and they're all focused on a very specific plot. And they're focused on getting to the plot's conclusion by the end of the series. Whereas shows like Bonanza were a bit more casual. You know, you didn't know what you were getting episode to episode. It wasn't always that they were following a very specific plot. You know, you had a lot of standalone episodes, and I wonder if we've become afraid of that. Have we become afraid of the standalone episode? Have we become afraid of doing different things episode to episode? I just don't know of a lot of TV shows that do that nowadays. Unless you guys can think of any. There's that word again. I love how Adam doesn't want to deal with the conflict in this episode, but Annie doesn't want to be walked over. You know, she doesn't want somebody walking all over her. And I like how Adam's demeanor towards her changes. I love how Adam is softening for Annie. This is great. I just love that Haas loses it once his food is ruined. Perfect. This little team up of Annie smashing plates over people's heads and Adam kicking them. I just love that kind of humor. I don't know. Has TV just gotten so serious nowadays? I don't know of any television show that does this, that switches up its tone. Like, you'll have humor sprinkled in episodes here and there, but to devote an entire episode to comedy, I don't know. Pa, it's me, Adam. Adam is so shocked. He's like, what? Their reactions are great too. Pa, it's me, Adam. She's just such a well-rounded actress. Like, she can be feminine, quiet, but loud and fiery and determined and passionate, and she's just got it all. Hmm. Adam's face there, I love watching it. It just changes. He enjoyed that. Soon as you get done lollygagging. Why do they do that? They fade out before somebody finishes delivering a line of dialogue. Just let them finish. It wasn't a bottle, it was a keg. Hat wasn't doing him much favors anyway. I would have liked to see Annie punch that guy in the face. Adam, stand up for her. I know you're feeling awkward since that kiss, but be a man. Oh, I do like this scene. Pa looking a little bit like Scrooge at his desk. I love that. Yes, you. Get over there. I love this. I like how Pa catches onto this too. Also, Purnell's voice is really satisfying to listen to. Like, he had that very deep baritone voice. Yeah, you snibberblot. Get out of here. I like how it says himself on the grave. It says, didn't it say himself O'Toole? You go, girl. Darn straight you are. Joe, what story were you telling? So I says to this feller, you gonna die. Hopsing just quits to go work for Annie. I like that outfit, that costume, very much. Okay, her prices here, insane for the time. That's just ridiculous. Adam. delivery is so theatrical. You know, just the through gritted teeth, the way he draws out his lines sometimes. I think that's why I like him so much as an actor is his choices feel very intentional. And I really enjoy watching him. You know, and he does become more reserved, but the delivery of certain lines like stays the same, like the energy that he gives to certain lines. Annie, what's this about a wedding? You think that joke is going to get old, but it doesn't. I like it when writers find one particular joke and then they sprinkle it throughout the episode. There's an episode, I think, in season 2 or season 3 with Hoss and a running joke about a gate that he keeps opening and closing, and it is so unbelievably funny. I don't blame her. I'd kiss him that many times. I'd attempt to kiss him that many times. I really like the narration in this episode. Uh, it's a nice touch. Turn him around so he can see the new saloons. That way he'll know he's not in a heathen land. Hilarious. Bonanza! Why did he deliver that line like that? Oh, not again. His laugh. Just this still shot of the mansion. Okay, cute little ending to the episode. Nice little way to tie it up. They should have brought Ida Lupino back, and it could have made such a cute sequel episode. You know, because they went back. They're living between Reno and Virginia City. But it would have been fun if she came back. I think that they could have done a nice little sequel story. Maybe she has a couple of kids and, I don't know, Swedes off somewhere and she and her kids get into some kind of hilarious trouble and Adam has to help them out. I don't know. That would have been nice. It's a cool little what if story, but my gosh, you guys, that episode is so delightful. I watched it twice and it's just so upbeat. It makes you feel nice after you're done watching it. I think as far as one of the first comedy episodes, I think they did pretty well. Like I said, it's definitely not my favorite, but it does give you a nice little glimpse into what will become some of the best comedy episodes of Bonanza. Like the Ponderosa Matador, or the Hay Burner, or, oh my gosh, what is that one where Adam has to serenade his old school teacher? The Wooing of Abigail Jones. I love that episode. I'm so excited to get to that one. But a couple things I just want to talk about. Number one, Ida Lupino is so delightful. You cannot help but root for this lady the entire episode. I said this a couple times, but her range is so impressive. You know, she's fierce, she's funny, she's pretty, she's witty, she's charming, but she is also really stubborn and she's not going to be walked over, but she's also able to retain her feminine energy. She's able to convey so much in one role and really make that character feel super believable and super well-rounded. She's such a force to be reckoned with. You know, she reminds me a little bit of Lucille Ball that way, you know, Carol Burnett, you know, these women with larger than life personalities, but they're able to convey such a range. You know, they're not limited to one specific trait. And sometimes I feel when people write female characters today, sometimes they define them by one particular trait. They'll take one aspect about a woman and reduce them to that one aspect. And human beings aren't like that at all. It's like we're a combination of a lot of different personality traits, and we're messy, and all those traits can exist at once. And I think that Ida's approach to Annie's character is just so well-rounded. There's so many different aspects about her that make her so likable as a character, and she just really gave such an energy to that role. Something else I was talking about during this reaction video that I got a little distracted as I was trying to say it, so I don't know if I was making too much sense, but Bonanza is mostly a standalone television series. Our television today isn't really standalone anymore. We don't really do standalone episodes. You know, we're following one specific narrative throughout a season, and then by the end of the season, we're looking to have that narrative concluded, and we don't really stray away from that. And like I was saying earlier, I think it's because we now only have like 8 to 15 episodes in a season, if we're lucky. And those episodes are only around 30 minutes. Not all television shows are like that, but that's a recurring trend that I'm seeing. And in these old shows, they were doing 34 to 40 episodes in a season, and they were an hour each. And so they had more time to explore different themes and explore different genres of episodes and do different things. But I wonder if we've just become afraid of the standalone episode. Like now we're so scared to have anything that falls away from one narrative plot. It's good to have narrative, and it's good to focus in on a plot point and see how it resolves and do character arcs and all that stuff. And I love that, don't get me wrong, but I think we've become afraid of the standalone episode. So I don't know, do you guys think that there is more room for standalone episodes in TV, or do you like the more plot-heavy focused stories? I like both. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes I think standalone episodes are really good for character development and just getting familiar with how your characters interact in certain situations and world building, etc., etc. Maybe that's a longer conversation, but it's just interesting how we've seemed to have fallen away from that. But I also I don't think that we're giving our television series as much time to explore genres like this. Although I do have to say, one of my biggest qualms with Bonanza is I think that they should have given each of the individual boys a character arc, especially when it came to the potential of getting married. You know, one of the things I don't love about Bonanza is how they didn't really allow the characters to grow or go anywhere. You know, eventually it became very formulaic, and I think the characters kind of became stagnant as a result, and they kind of gave, like, just as an example, like Adam an arc, you know, in season 5 with the Laura episodes, but I would have liked to see a complete arc where one of the guys meets the love of their life and they get married and they have a big character arc with the girl, and then they go off and they start their own family. So I feel like Bonanza was limited in that, but it's food for thought. It's something fun to think about. I also touched on Pernell Roberts' theatrics in this one. His approach to the way he delivers lines or the way he looks in a specific scene is a big part of his appeal as an actor for me. I've always felt that there was so much intention behind his acting. Even if he's not the focus of a scene. He's always reacting or doing something in the background, and I just think that makes him such an entertaining actor to watch. Although it is an interesting comparison to see how his approach to the Adam character changed. He's not as, I don't want to say he's not as reactive. Like he definitely reacts more to stuff, but it's just a little bit more muted and a little bit more in the background. But he's just such a good actor. I love seeing how he approaches delivering certain lines or certain facial expressions he'll make in response to another character speaking. He's just so much fun to watch. What did you guys think about the humor in this episode? Did you like it? I would love to know what your favorite scene is. I would love to know what you thought of the comedy in this one. I would like to know what you thought of Ida Lupino in this one. I would like to know what you thought of her dynamic with Purnell. What did you think of the storyline? I would love to hear all of your thoughts. You can either drop a comment if you're watching this on YouTube, or you can email me at meltyenjoys@gmail.com. We have no thoughts this week on this episode, but that doesn't mean that you can't share them at a later date. So please feel free to email me at meltyenjoys@gmail.com if you would like to share any thoughts on this episode. Okay, I think that's it for today, guys. I'm not sure. I want to say that next week's episode is the Philip Diedeschmeyer story, but I'm not sure. Let's check that out. Next week, we are watching, yes, gosh, I remember this. I remember the order better than I initially thought. But the next week's episode is the Philip Diedeschmeyer story. Oh gosh, that's a rough name to pronounce. Diedeschmeyer. I think that's how you say that. But that is the next episode that we'll be watching. That one's a dramatic episode, I think. Well, I don't want to spoil it, but I think Haas has to save Adam, if I remember that. It's dramatic. I do remember that. But that is the episode that we'll be watching next week. Can't wait to hear your thoughts on the Saga of Annie O'Toole, guys, and I will see you in the next Bonanza podcast episode. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope you have a great day.